Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the Jazz Albums Review Series. And today I'm going to be taking a look at another 2023 release, this time from composer, arranger and conductor Vince Mendoza. And this is his newest recording for Modern Recordings, Olympians. So this marks the first time since 2021's Freedom Over Everything that Vince Mendoza has recorded and released an album featuring new material. Now, on Freedom Over Everything, it featured the Czech National Symphony Orchestra, but for Olympians, Vince Mendoza returns with his longtime working ensemble, the Metropole Orkestra, an ensemble that Vince Mendoza has collaborated and worked with many times in the past on his projects. And Vince Mendoza is best known for blending jazz and classical music together to create a very unique sound. So think of jazz music, but very heavily orchestrated. Vince Mendoza composes and arranges and orchestrates all of the material. And he doesn't do it alone. He always has notable guest musicians and some great players as featured soloists. So we've got the lovely Dianne Reeves, Cécile McLorin, Salvant, Chris Potter, David Binney, and Alex Acua, to name a few. So we've got here some new compositions by Vince Mendoza, and we've also got some reworkings of some classic Vince Mendoza compositions from past recordings. So we've got the list of all of the musicians who are credited and play in the Metropole Orkestra. And we also got the featured soloists as well. There we are. Some production notes and credits. And here's some of the great musicians playing here as well. Great stuff here. So, tracks we got here are Quixote, Esperanto, which is a reworking of a classic composition from Vince Mendoza's amazing Epiphany recording, which featured some amazing legendary musicians such as Michael Brecker, John Abercrombie, and Mark Johnson, Joe Lovano, to name a few, who played on that album. And that track in particular is best known to feature Michael Brecker, John Abercrombie, and John Taylor. Three outstanding musicians who are sadly no longer with us, but it gets a nice reworking here, courtesy of the lovely Dianne Reeves, and it's got lyrics. It's actually a vocal track, and the lyrics were written by Kurt Elling, another great singer as well. And we've also got House of Reflections, and the lyrics are provided by Norma Winstone, and featured soloists, as I mentioned earlier, Dianne Reeves on vocals, Cécile McLorin Salvant on vocals, Chris Potter on tenor saxophone, David Binney on alto saxophone, Alex Acua on percussion, and Ramón Stagnaro on charango, and Vince Mendoza provides additional keyboards, percussion, and whistles as well. And we've also got here the Metropole Orkestra. We've got featured soloists on track one, Quixote, Alex Acua, and Mark Skoten. And also, as I mentioned already, Dianne Reeves on Esperanto on vocals. Partido Alto, so that's got Alia Di Ruta on violin. House of Reflections, featured soloist we got is Cécile McLorin Salvant on vocals and Hans Rumens on piano. And we've also got on Miracle Child featured soloists are Peter Tyhuis on guitar and Mark Skolten on alto saxophone. And then on Bike Nights, Peter Tyhuis on guitar, Leo Jansen on tenor saxophone. On Lakefire, we got David Binney on alto saxophone, Rick Moll on trumpet, and Hans Rumens on piano. And then on Barcelona, we got Peter Tyhuis on guitar again, Rick Moll on trumpet, Chris Potter on tenor saxophone, who delivers amazing, great sax playing as always. And Bright Lights and Jubilations with Paul van der Finn on alto sax and Peter Tyhuis on guitar. So all of the music is written and composed by Vince Mendoza, and as you'd expect from a guy like Vince Mendoza, it's a fantastic album. Top-notch production, great orchestrations, great arrangements. You know, I wouldn't really expect anything but the absolute best from a guy like Vince Mendoza. He always delivers, and he knows how to write a composition. He always assembles the best musicians, and he always has great soloists for his music. And the way he is able to blend jazz and classical to create his own style of music is just nothing but short of impressive, in my opinion. And he always delivers. And he's got a very unique sound as well. There's no one else who sounds quite like Vince Mendoza. And I've always looked at Vince Mendoza as a young Klaus Ogerman. You know, he's like a Klaus Ogerman Jr. He's very much similar to Klaus Ogerman from many years ago. And for me, Vince Mendoza is probably the best composer on the scene today in this field, as far as I'm concerned. So, standout tracks for me are Esperanto, which surprisingly sounds not too bad with vocals. I mean, obviously, I prefer the original, especially for Michael Brecker, but it's actually really good. House of Reflections is another great track. Miracle Child, Big Night, Lakefire, Barcelona, and Bright Lights and Jubilations. But really, really good album. And as I said, when Vince Mendoza, when he's up on his A game with his head on straight, he's one of the best in the world, and he always delivers. And I highly recommend you check out all of his other albums. They're all fantastic, and they're all very similar, but they're all very different. They're very much jazz orchestrated music, but they're really, really good. But this one's very enjoyable and definitely well worth the wait, I say. So there you have it, Vince Mendoza with the Metropole Orkestra, Olympians. Fantastic album, as always, from Vince Mendoza. So that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What's your favourite track from Olympians? Is it Quixote, Esperanto, Partidio Alto, House of Reflections, Miracle Child, Big Night, Lakefire, Barcelona, Bright Lights, and Jubilations? Or do you enjoy the entire album from start to finish? There's no right or wrong answer. We all have our favourite tracks. You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Jazz Albums Review Series. So until next time, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.